Hey, keep an eye out for the golden star later in the video. Spot it and comment the timestamp and you'll get a shout out in the next video. Hello and welcome back. We're just gonna dive straight into it today. We've got a couple of questions that we're gonna go through and yeah, without further ado, let's just dive right in. So the first question is, what game do you always come back to no matter how old it gets? Honestly, I think Minecraft has always kind of been like a staple in my life. And the reason for that is I really just enjoy like building things, and I really like, making farms and providing like food for the character. And I like leveling up and just, working on like this world and kind of like building the world up. There's something really satisfying about it. I don't know, man. I really just enjoy the game. I know some of my friends, they'll think, you're such a nerd for liking that game, but it's like, I don't care. It's fun, man. Like, it scratches an itch that just needs to be scratched, Yeah, it's a very oddly satisfying game, and it's like, I don't know, you just create this world that you can kind of live in, and it just becomes so cozy and comfortable, and it's just oddly satisfying, like going through the progression of like starting with nothing. Like literally you have dirt blocks and like timber, and then you just kind of create an entire world pretty much out of nothing. I don't know, I think that's really cool. It's really satisfying. So I think definitely Minecraft would always be like a staple, but I try not play it like way too much, because then like I think I do get over it, but I always end up coming back to it eventually, or I'll just start like a new world or something. But I think normally the main thing for me is the building. I think like I like to just have like this design in my head, and then I try to make it in the world, and pretty much like never turns out like how I want it to turn out. But I mean, sometimes it does. Sometimes I've made some pretty cool worlds where I've made pretty like comfortable, like homely environment structures, and yeah, it's very satisfying. And each time I play, it's like different. Like I come into it from a different angle. So like, I want to do a jungle treehouse this run, or I just want to, fence off the village and build up the defenses and that kind of thing, or, like try focus on enchanting and like getting the perfect enchantments that I want on my armor and my weapons and that kind of thing. Like, it's just really satisfying. I don't know what it is about it, but also like just the feel of the game, how everything's just cubes, and the color scheme, and just, it really just feels like it's hard to explain. It's hard to describe. It just feels like comfortable. I don't know how to explain it better than that, to be honest, but yeah, it's very, very enjoyable. The vibe of the game is just really, like, they got it down, like, pretty well, and they're always, like, updating stuff. But what I like is it's never anything, like, too crazy. They just keep it very simple, which is exactly, like, what it needs to be. But it can also go really in depth as well if you search for it. Like, there's a lot of things that are still to be discovered. Like, people build computers inside of the game. It's pretty wild. They use like these crazy redstone computers, and it's just absolutely mind-boggling to think like how much thought goes into some of these builds. And also, like, I look at some of these other people just building and creating all these different worlds, and you can really see the creativity and just the imagination that has kind of gone into it, Yeah, there's something really satisfying about it, I think. Let's see. The next one is, what is a game you loved but no one else seems to talk about? Anno 1800 is a fantastic game. It's something that my friends aren't really particularly into, but it's probably one of the most beautifulest games that I've ever seen. Like, it just looks like you're in some kind of movie cutscene just all the time, but like, that's just the game. And I think a lot of people get put off it because it's like, yeah, it's just like a city builder. It's kind of just, it is more than that. Like, if you follow the campaign, it's really satisfying. I haven't finished it. There's still a lot to kind of get through and to kind of get up to that level, which I haven't quite got there yet. But I mean, if people mostly think it's like a city builder, that is partly true as well, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. Not crazily deep, but I mean, there are factors of like, you can run into someone on the map where they can either be like pirates or they can be fellow tradesmen, and there's also like a stage of diplomacy where you have to try not go to war with these people. So basically, you need to find, I think it's iron mines to be able to create weapons to help defend yourself. But you also need to balance out like making money so you can keep up the maintenance and the cost for like these weapons. And it's very much like trying to balance like your financial and your defensives and your economy. And also it's just such a beautiful game. Like you can literally make like fleets of like ships, and you can upgrade your ships and make better ones, and you can create like cannon defenses around your islands. You can literally just go to another island and just create a whole new thing in that area. It's pretty wild, and the story so far is just fantastic. It is just a really beautiful game, and I wish more people knew about it. It's honestly probably one of the most beautiful games I think I've ever played, and it's just so very well rounded, I think. Yeah, I like it. You can literally just go at your own pace. You can just build things if you want and just create like cities and upgrade them and, you know, build your economy. Or you could, you know, try balance it out and try build like lots of weapons, make like a fleet. You could try take over different places and, you know, go to war with different people. You know, like you just do whatever you want really in the game. It's really, really satisfying. And also the animations of like the townsfolk just kind of roaming around the city, it's very satisfying to watch. Like you click on a certain building and you can see like the donkeys like carting and carrying your resources, and it's real like time. Like once the donkey arrives at the location, it provides like the resource that it needs for that thing. Like it's really intricate and just satisfying. But by far the thing that stands out the most is just like the landscape and just the architecture and the beauty of like the world. Is just, honestly, search it up, Anno 1800, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just a beautiful looking game, man. And yeah, not everyone's into it, but I mean, I think it's highly underrated, that one. It's a lot of fun, but it's definitely a game where it's best kind of played. Well, I find it's best kind of played just on your own. It's kind of like a story game if you're going for the campaign. It's a really good story game, and it does kind of help you out a lot, so it's pretty easy to learn. But I mean, there are some things which can be a bit difficult. I had to search up a couple of things, but it's really not as complicated as what I thought it would be. Like the trading routes, like having your trades go from island to like buy or sell to different locations, that kind of caught me up a little bit. But I mean, once I knew like how that worked, it was very simple and just straightforward. Like, oh, okay, this is how you sell and buy and whatnot from different locations if you're running low on certain things. But yeah, I'm gonna start talking about that now, and we'll go into the next one. Let's see. The next one is, what's your go-to chill game or activity after a stressful day? Well, there's a couple of different games that I play. I mean, there's just so many games, man. Like the main ones that I think I play are obviously like Minecraft. Surprisingly, like StarCraft 2 is another one. It's pretty fun. Like been playing with my mate. I really like the working together thing. Like you both have to work together to, you know, take over the other bases and do all the missions and stuff. Actually, really fun game. Really fun multiplayer game. Anno 1800 is really good. What I have on my PS4 at the moment, I believe it's Skyrim, Brawlhalla, Diablo 5, I think it is, or 4 or 5. I can't remember which one it was. The new one, I think. Battlefront 2. That's an awesome game. I wish there was a Battlefront 3, man. It's just so good. Like it's very much similar to Call of Duty in some ways, of like capturing the bases and domination and that kind of thing. And you're firing your weapons and you've got different classes and stuff. Similar in that aspect, but very much Star Wars, and if not more immersive, I think, in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, Call of Duty was great, but I mean, this game is just like the world. There's so much like history, and like, you know, if you've followed the storyline, it's like, oh, we're on this place, we're fighting that battle of like, you know, what was going on in the story kind of thing, without ruining anything. Yeah, just the characters, the vehicles are awesome. I think one of my favorite starting classes is the officer, because you can just plant down a turret and basically just cause a lot of havoc, and plus you can heal the people around you as well, including yourself. So it's kind of like forget the class, the helper, there's someone yelling at their screen right now, so like, it's a thing, it's a the healer or whatever. I like to be a team player kind of character, but also Heavy is just so insane. You basically get this like massive machine gun and it just mows down people. There's actually one map near the end, if you make it to the last objective, it's basically just this hallway, and depending on what side you are, you're either outside trying to stop them from coming out to the last objective, because there's only one left, so everyone's trying to get to this one place instead of like multiple places. And yeah, Heavy is just insane if you kind of plant down and just mow people down, because it's literally just a tunnel. And yeah, it's insane, man. I think I got like 80 kills on that map. Oh, it might have been even more than that actually, I'm not too sure, but oddly very, very satisfying. And also just very immersive. The maps are just awesome. The characters are awesome. Obviously you can play like Jedis. You can play like some of the not as well-known characters as well. I'm not very good with their names, to be honest. I'll probably get a lot of crap for that, but I will. Like, I don't know. Like, I've watched a lot of the Star Wars things, even like the animations and stuff. Like, it's a really good story, man. It's very, very entertaining. Yeah, it's just a very well-crafted kind of world, because it's like literally the galaxy is the limit, you know? Yeah, it's very immersive. Let's see. This is an interesting one. So this one says, if you could erase one movie or show from your memory to experience it again, what would it be? Well, I kind of didn't realize that's where it was going with that question. But I think if I could rewatch like Lord of the Rings, man, dude, it was just so good. Like, it's just so good. It's such a good feeling of like good people like fighting against like evil, you know? And like the spirit of good will not fail even though the odds are stacked against us, kind of thing. And yeah, it's just so good. It's such a well done like movie. Even to this day, it's something that I've rewatched so many times. It's just so damn good, man. Let's see. And what I thought the question was going to ask, like, what one movie you could erase from your memory. I think I didn't particularly enjoy the movie The Mist. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I was severely just so disappointed with the ending, you know? And if you've seen that movie, people might know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna ruin it if you haven't seen it. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like that movie, like I did not enjoy the ending of that movie at all. Like I was genuinely like pissed off about that, man. Yeah. But anyway, let's see, what else do we have? What's a show that you can always rewatch? I'm actually not even going to answer that one because I'm thinking of something else, so I'm just going to say this. There was a TV show called Heroes. Yeah, you might have to be a little bit of an older person to like be aware of that show. But it was the whole like save the cheerleader, save the world. Dude, I was really like hooked in the first like season of that show. I don't even remember what happens because it's been so long since I've like watched it. I don't even know where to find it. But it's basically these people that start to learn that they have superpowers. Like there's people that can read minds, there's people that can heal and just like can't die basically. There's people that can like adapt to other people's ability when they're close by. There's good people and there's bad people. There's time travelers, there's all different kinds of people, and they all have like their own story of like how they come to find out how they have their powers and like how they deal with it within their place in the world. And I thought it was a really cool concept. I really like the whole superhero, well, I guess they're not really superheroes, meant to be like ordinary people that come into power, I guess. But yeah, it's a really old movie. I don't remember, like maybe if I rewatch it I'll change my mind and be like, oh, it's pretty awful. But at the time, I remember when I was like much younger, I had a bedtime and I was not allowed to stay awake after a certain time when I was like much younger, and my parents are pretty strict on that. So I remember like I would sneak out to the lounge and like just because I really wanted to watch this TV show, and like I remember like they kept catching me like, oh, you're meant to be in bed, like what are you doing, kind of thing. And yeah, I remember like trying to bargain with my parents. It's like, look, okay, I'm really into this show, I can't sleep, I need to know what happens, like please just let me stay up and watch this. I don't care, I'll go to bed earlier like normally on the other days, but just for this show, can I please just stay up and watch it, please? Like I was so intrigued by it. It's a bit of a throwback, to be honest. But yeah, I remember really enjoying that show, and also it was a nice little excuse to kind of stay up just a little bit later, like past like my bedtime at the time. But yeah, let's see, what else do we have? And this is an interesting question, and it is, do you think modern movies rely too much on CGI, or is that just evolution? That's a really interesting question, and I'll tell you my take on this. So, learning about what goes into creating CGI is so intense, man. Like, like it really is an art. Like, to be able to pull it off well. I personally can really appreciate it when it's done well. But when it's not done well, it's painfully obvious to realize, like, it ruins the immersion if it's not done correctly. So, yeah, I mean, but when it's done really well, like, the things that have to go into making CGI is more intense than what I thought it was. Like, I was messing around with Blender and like animation and that kind of stuff at one point, not so much anymore, but I remember trying to get into making like CGI because I thought, like, you know, when it's done really well, it's really effective kind of thing. And it's just insane because the way that I believe that it works is they literally have to create a model creature, right? Say it's just like a creature that's going to be CGI'd into a movie or whatever. They literally have to create the bones of the creature, the muscles of the creature, how the skin reacts to moving over the muscles inside of a computer. They have to create like how the fur interacts with the wind of the environment. It's just so intense, like how many things are going on with like CGI. And I was watching some videos of like how to do it, and I was like, man, this is just some next level. Like damn, man, I didn't realize how insane like the attention to detail is with that kind of stuff. It really is. Again, I'll say it is an artwork. Like, to be able to pull that stuff off, I've got some crazy props to people that can do that kind of thing. It's insane. But it is pretty cutthroat though, I think, because if you can't pull it off, it's painfully obvious, and it does ruin the immersion, I think. So if it's not done correctly, it's pretty rough. Like, and you'll probably get a lot of negative feedback because people are like, it's just this stupid CGI, and it's not very good of a show or whatever. Too much CGI or whatever. So yeah, I'm definitely more on the side of like, I like it when it's done right. You know, can it be overdone with CGI? For sure. Sometimes, like, if the whole movie is just like CGI, like, there's a very good chance it's not going to be done well because there might be something that I'll notice that kind of ruins the immersion, or it just doesn't seem realistic or whatever. But if it's done right, I could probably give it a pass. Yeah. Honestly, I try not to be too much of a person that judges it, just because, I mean, it's rough and it is someone's artwork, you know, and I don't want to like stomp on that as well, you know, but it's also hard to ignore if it's done really badly. I will say that, and it's not my fault if I don't get immersed into it because of that, you know, but I will still always appreciate like the time and effort of like how much time and effort and detail work goes into things like that. I had no idea, and it blew my mind. But yeah, the next one is this is an interesting one. It says, do you think we'd appreciate happiness as much if sadness didn't exist? That's a good question. I think if you weren't sad, it would be harder to appreciate the times when you're happy. And I know this just from like personal experience because, you know, I was a pretty like upset kid about a lot of things, and I was definitely fighting like a lot of the time, just like trying to find happiness like in my life when I was much younger, for sure, 100%. So I think when my mood kind of swung to be a little bit more happy, I really tried to hold on to that as much as I can, because I know that this too shall pass, kind of thing, unfortunately. Nowadays, I've definitely got a lock on, and like I'm on the right medication to kind of help balance me out a lot. And man, I wish I'd discovered that medication sooner. It literally changed my life, man. I was like, man, life's not supposed to feel like this dramatic all the time, and I'm just very emotional, and I'm just always upset and feeling down about things. I didn't realize it was literally like a chemically imbalance in my brain. And yeah, I spent a lot of my life unmedicated and just trying to figure out like what my deal was, you know, like why do I always feel like this kind of thing. So I very much understand like holding on to the happy times, because like it's important to make the most of it, because you just don't know when it's going to go south. Because at that time I was like, well, it's inevitably going to go south, so let's just enjoy this for what it is, kind of thing. But luckily enough, I definitely got a lock on to like a medication that really helps, and yeah, my life has honestly never been better. Like honestly, when I found the medication that kind of worked, I was like, man, like I can't believe I was living life like this is what life is probably meant to feel like, you know? Because I definitely did notice, like, man, like how are people so happy all the time? Like, how are people just getting through life without much of a struggle? Like, it just seems so simple. Like, why am I always like going through these roller coasters all the time with like my emotions and stuff? So I definitely noticed that it didn't seem to be normal compared to like comparing myself to other people and their experiences. So yeah, as soon as I found that medication, I was just like, man, this oh my goodness, how have I been living like that, dude? I feel like a lot of my life was just like stolen. Like a lot of my time was just stolen just by being miserable, like a lot of the time, you know? So I'm very happy that I have found something that works quite well for me. And I definitely feel much more balanced out, and I don't really like feel sad like much. Like, I still have like the odd occasion, but it's very much a more rare thing nowadays, which I'm very grateful for, because it's just so exhausting and so draining trying to like maintain that, you know? I found myself having so much more energy. My thoughts were so much more clear and unclouded with like these like roller coaster without these roller coaster emotions, you know? So yeah, I'm very, very grateful for that. And yeah, it's literally changed my life. And if you must know, it's called acetalopram. That's what it is, and it's been very helpful. But if you're ever considering like medication because you've had similar things, just check with your doctor. Also, do your research too. Like, I watched a lot of videos on YouTube of like how it changed people's lives and how it really helped people, and they were sharing similar stories that I could relate to, which I feel like really helped me kind of be a bit more convinced of like, you know, maybe this is really for people like myself, you know? Yeah. I think that was a really, really important turning point in my life, because I definitely knew there was something up with me, and I couldn't figure out why I always felt the way that I did, you know? And like, there was just nothing that I could seem to do to like avoid this crazy roller coaster of feelings, you know? And like, I definitely tried to figure it out. I tried like some of the natural stuff. Like, I wasn't really keen on getting prescribed like prescription medication stuff, because I knew some of that was really strong and some of it's very dangerous and some of it's just really not good. So I was very hesitant, and it was literally the last resort. Like, I tried the natural stuff. Like ashwagandha was probably the closest thing that helped me the most in terms of like the natural stuff. It made me feel really, really good, ashwagandha. Like, my mood was really, really lifted from that. But it did kind of fizzle out, and it stopped being as effective as what I needed it to be. There was another one as well, St. John's wort. It was okay. I just felt a little bit zombified almost. It definitely did help, but I tell you what, I tried to stop taking St. John's wort after like a year or something, and I was not prepared for the withdrawal symptoms. Like, I thought I lost hearing in my right ear, and I was going through this crazy withdrawal symptoms. I was like, what the heck's going on with me? And they say it's like no addictive and there aren't any withdrawals, but man, there was clearly some kind of withdrawals from that. I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was just me, maybe it's just my experience, but yeah, that was wild, man. Yeah, so there definitely was a part of me that was thinking like, I could just tough it out, you know, like, you know, we've all got problems, what makes my problem so important, kind of thing. But if it's going to be something that can really help you, I highly encourage you putting some effort into figuring out and testing things out on what works and what doesn't in terms of like medication, if you feel like there's something not quite right, you know? Because yeah, I am so glad I did like pursue that. Otherwise I would just be, I don't even know, man, like I would be really struggling, I think. So yeah, and it's kind of funny because like I know a lot of people, when they like ended up finding like a medication that works, they're like, wow, this is crazy. It's just like, I can't believe people live like this. Like, how have I been coping this whole time, you know? And I also feel it makes you like quite a strong person, because if you've lived through something where you're constantly battling this thing that's like kind of taking over your life and controlling your life, when you find like a fix that actually works, it's like, man, if I can go through that and like be okay, then like I can't believe, like you can pretty much, you feel like you can handle anything, you know. It's like I've been through thick and thin, I've been through hell and back, you know. Like now it's like I'm living life on easy mode, you know. It's things just aren't as difficult, my mind's clear, and it's easy to execute things and follow my goals without these distractions, you know. Like I never realized how much time and effort I was putting into just trying to maintain myself, you know. So yeah, but that's just my little rant on medication. It's been very, very life-changing for me. It could be a different thing though for other people. Like some people it's like ADHD medication or like whatever, you know. Like everyone's got different things going on. So but yeah, if you feel like you're off and you've always been struggling with like something, then I do encourage you to try, you know, talk to a doctor and tell them how it is and see if there's anything that you can't explore trying, you know. Because yeah, that's been very, very helpful for me at least. Yeah, I mean, don't go crazy with it, because you don't want to like go into things and then it's just the wrong thing, but then it feels like I should stay on this because it's probably good. Like don't do that. If it's not working, just yeah, don't do it. You know. But obviously speak to your doctor, have a very good conversation with them, make sure they understand your situation and what you're trying to do, and yeah, that's probably the safest way to do it. But anyway, it's a bit of a rant. Let's see. This is an interesting one. So this one says, do you think people are more themselves online or in real life? I mean, I think people definitely use the internet to be a bit more themselves. They kind of use it as a way to be themselves because it's possible to be anonymous on the internet, you know? So you can say whatever and like, you know, do whatever because it's the internet, you know? And I think it's kind of like if they're not really in tune with themselves, it's a way to kind of hide behind the internet in some cases, I would say. Like, I think if a person's really in tune with themselves, they don't necessarily need to use the internet as an escape to be a different person, you know? They tend to have already asked the important questions like, who am I? What do I want out of life? What do I, like, who do I want to be? Like, what do I want, really? Kind of thing. And they've explored the really, really important questions of, like, what they like and, like, what they don't like. But people, I think, that haven't really gone through that process yet, I think, tend to hide behind this facade of, like, pretending to be someone that they're not, or, like, testing things out, or talking about an unpopular opinion or whatever. And it might be their true self that they're discovering, but it's, like, through a mask of the internet sometimes, I think, which is fine, you know, like, it's there, like, the internet's there to be for that, I guess. But I really do think people haven't figured out who they are yet in that particular case, and they're testing things out, which could be a way to find who they truly are, and then they can actually be that person in real life. But yeah, I don't know, that's an interesting one. This one's an interesting one. So it's like, it's asking, what's the dumbest argument you've ever had that you still remember? Okay, I've got a friend who shall not be named for the sake of privacy reasons, but it blows my mind the way that he thinks sometimes, man. Like, I'm just gonna use this as an example. This didn't really happen, but for an example, he would be running out of toilet paper, and you know, it's starting to really like get down to like the last roll of toilet paper, right? And I would say things like, you know, you should probably get some more toilet paper, and then even he will say like, oh, I should probably get some more toilet paper. But for some reason, he just refused to do so, or he just didn't seem to remember ever. And then I would have these arguments because, well, it wasn't really an argument, it was just him kind of like just being frustrated because he just didn't have the thing that he was meant to get. And it was just so consistent of like, you know, I should really get this thing, oh, it's getting to the wire, oh, I should probably really do it, it's getting pretty close. And then he just would never do it. And then I remember just hearing like how he was so frustrated, like, I can't believe it's got to this point, like, man, I'm just so irritated by this. And just like the amount of times I had to deal with that conversation, countless times, man. Like, sometimes he would forget his keys to the house. You know, a thing that my brain just would not allow me to do is to forget the key to the house where I live, where I sleep, you know? But, and I know this is probably more common, and maybe this is just the way my brain's wired. I just wouldn't be able to not remember something like that. My brain would drive me crazy with that kind of thing. But he would get so upset. It's like, I'm locked out of my house. I can't believe this. And like, it's like, I remember like, trying to help him out. I was like, do you have your key? And then we'd have to go back inside and grab his key. But like, it was just so like painfully obvious to me, and I'd always have to deal with the like, I can't believe this has happened. I'm just so upset. It's like I could see it coming from like a mile away, but he just almost, it felt like he was just refusing to like just do the thing that would help himself out, Obviously he's way better now, like that, like we're older people, and yeah, but those conversations, man. But anyway, let's see. What else we got? This is an interesting one. So this one is saying, asking, what would your warning label say if you came with one? Emotionally very fragile. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a very specific person, like I think certain things really bug me, and it's not the person's fault. It's just the way that I am, and I'm not particularly happy that this is just like a feature that I have, like a really awful thing. But for example, like I remember I was just watching a TV show with my flatmate, and I remember he was just like doing this like tapping sound thing. He was playing with like the handle of the coffee table, because it has a drawer, and that drawer has like a metal handle that kind of is like slightly loose, and he was playing with that. It was driving me crazy, because I don't think he really realized that like he was doing it. It was just like this thing that he would sometimes do, and it happened more than once. But I remember, like, for me to explain how it is for me, it's like the TV goes quiet or quieter and becomes more of a background thing, and that sound of the clinking metal handle against the drawer is slowly getting louder and louder and louder, and then it's the only thing that I can focus on. Like, my brain just will not allow me to think of anything else but like, stop making that sound. Damn it, it's driving me crazy. I had to say it to him, man. Like he's a good dude, man. Like, I don't mean to be mean, but for some reason, like, I just tunnel vision on that sound, and I just can't get over that until like it stops, and then I can like get on with my life. It's such a weird thing, man. I don't know what it is, and it's definitely a me problem for sure, like 100%. I totally admit that. It's the same thing with like when people are chewing and it's like really loud. It just makes me want to punch various holes into the wall with my fists and my head, it just, I don't know why. It's like, it's so hard not to focus on it, but I'm very aware that that's a me issue. It's very much my own problem, and it's not the person's fault, but that's just sometimes how it goes for me. It's not a very often thing, like, but when it happens, it's very, very noticeable for me. Let's see, what else do we have? This is an interesting one. So this one is asking, when do your best ideas usually hit? The morning, night, or random bursts? It was really odd, because when I would play guitar, I used to get these insane urges to play guitar, like in the middle of the night, which is really not a good combination. And I'm sorry to my flatmates if I disturbed you. I don't really do that ever anymore, just because I'm more focused on other things nowadays. But sometimes I will have like this vision of a song in my head, and it always would be like a 4 a.m. like late night jam session for some reason, or like a 3 a.m. 2 a.m. jam session. Honestly, that's when I've come up with some of the best stuff that I've made. Also, like, I had a friend I used to jam with, like guitar, like quite a lot with. Sometimes we would just stay up and just chat and just, try to figure out something to do because we were bored. So we would break out the guitars and just come up with like these riffs, and I would try compliment like the riff, and damn, man, we came up with some really cool stuff. But yeah, I remember that. I'll never ever forget those late night jam sessions. Those are always the best ones, man. It's normally just quiet, it's chilled, we're relaxed, we're just playing some calm, relaxing kind of chill music. Yeah, man, I never forget those nights, man. Let's see. This is an interesting one. So this one asks, what's something you really value in your closest friends? Well, I think just because naturally I'm very much an introverted person, and I'm very grateful for my friends to help me get out of my shell sometimes. I don't know, I really appreciate, like, sometimes like my mate will like come to my room and just be like, yo, do you want to jam some games or something? And I'd be like, hell yeah. Yeah, I don't know, it just kind of breaks up the whole routine thing. But also just like helping out with like things around the house is really something I appreciate, because I can see where effort has been put into, you know. It's like if I'm like doing the chores or whatnot, and then I notice that something's already been done, it's just like, oh man, that's awesome, you know. But I think probably the main thing would be like, if I'm having an issue, like my friends will always listen to what I have to say, because I'm normally like pretty quiet and I don't like always carry the conversation sometimes. But when I like speak, like it's nice to have someone like really listen to what I'm saying and like give advice and stuff, you know, like because they understand like what I've gone through and the way that I am and some of the troubles that I've had in my life, kind of thing. And it's something that they can also relate to too, which is probably what brought us together as friends, right? So being able to just talk about anything is very handy, you know, like it's always going to be a safe space. There's not going to be any judgment. I could literally say like anything to these people and it will be like listened to, which is really, really nice. I think that's probably a better answer, I think. Yeah. And like literally, if I want to hang out, it's always like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go. Let's do something, you know? But yeah, I think like in my time of need, my friends always tend to like show up, which is something that I really, really appreciate. And it goes both ways, you know, like when my friend really needed to go to the hospital, like I'm always going to be there to kind of like drive him, you know, and like help out. And same goes, like if anything's going on, like I will always just sit there and just listen, you know, like apparently I listen good. That's something that people tend to say sometimes. But yeah, that's something I think I really appreciate. Let's see, what else do we have? This one's asking, have you ever met someone who completely shifted your perspective on life? Yeah, very much so, all the time. Well, maybe not all the time, but like I remember when I was working at that retail store, which shall not be named, basically my job was to sell things, and if people, you know, would ask questions about some of the products, and then I would give them the answer and like what my recommendations might be for their situation, kind of thing. But a lot of the time, some people just came into the store just because they wanted to have a bit of a yarn, just a bit of a chat, you know, and I'm totally down for that, because kind of distracts you from actually doing work and it makes the time pass much quicker. But yeah, I remember like just having conversations with people, and sometimes it would get deep. Most people tend to, you know, do the whole routine, hey, how you going, like how's life going, how's life treating you, kind of thing. And then some people, they just dive right into like the deep end, you know. And honestly, I kind of like that, because it doesn't feel so routine. Like I remember there was this one girl that I work with, and it was like a different kind of conversation that we had. It was like she would talk about like the dreams that she had, and it was a lot more interesting than just like, oh hey, how you going, kind of thing. It was like, yeah, I had this really weird dream where blah 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 blah, kind of thing. It was just different, you know. It was refreshing, because like I don't know, like I think sometimes the conversation becomes so routine, especially in retail, because hey, how you going, how can I help you, kind of thing, you know. But I don't know, just diving into something like personal or something like unique, and something where someone's like opening up about something. Like I really enjoy like getting to know who a person is, I think. And that's why I think I was probably like kind of well known in like my job, because I really like understanding people and why they are the way that they are, kind of thing. Like how were they raised, what were their parents like, you know, like what was life like for them growing up. Like just getting a different type of perspective, I think, is really interesting to me. Yeah, because there are so many different people in the world, and there's so many different ways of how people can grow up, and honestly sometimes you get a really good story out of it. It's like you realize like this person had like a bit of a rough upbringing, they didn't really have like much of a family, and then they ended up just like working really hard and dedicating themselves to their craft, and no matter how many times the world threw crap at them, they always just kind of stood back up and persevered. And that's really inspiring, like just hearing stories. And it's like the subtle things, it's not like them trying to tell you like a sub story. It's like the little things that, you know, just with different conversations, it's like, oh okay, I picked up on like, you know, their parents weren't very like happy with them growing up with their life decisions, kind of thing, but they didn't like submit and follow their parents' footsteps. They decided to craft their own journey kind of thing. Just picking up little bits of information like that is really interesting, and it really creates like a character of that. Like, it does build character, I think. Going through some hard times. So listening to people that have been through hard times, that have made it through the other side, it's really, really interesting hearing their stories and like what they had to go through. So yeah, it's very interesting stuff, man. I do like that stuff. Let's see. If you could drop everything and travel anywhere right now, where would you go? I would probably either consider going to like Canada or something, or maybe like Thailand. If money wasn't an issue, then I would probably go to Canada, I think. Just because it seems like a pretty cool place to go, and it's quite similar to New Zealand as well in terms of like the people just being like really chilled out and relaxed and like nice people. Either that or like maybe Switzerland. I hear like the people are really nice in Switzerland too, but obviously there's like a whole war thing going on like in that area, so maybe not. But I don't think I've met a rude Switzerland person, you know, like every Switzerland person that I have ever met, I think, has just been very just chilled out, relaxed, and like well-roundedly balanced as a person. Whatever they're doing over there, man, they're doing it right. I don't know what it is, man, but I'd love to check it out and just, you know, see how people live on that side, you know, maybe one day. This next one is, would you rather live in a quiet small town or a buzzing city? Me personally, I think I would rather kind of be in between, like the busy chaos and the middle of nowhere. I want to be perfectly in between, not too far away from anything, but not in the middle of everything. Like, yeah, I think perfectly in the middle is kind of the sweet spot for me. I think if I was like super mega millionaire person, then I would probably buy a place in each location so I could have like the best of both, you know? Yeah, because I understand like the busyness in the city, like that's where the life is, that's where things are happening, you know, there's lots of people, like that's where a lot of the progression happens, like that's where you go to make things happen and to like become someone or whatever, you know. Out on the farm, you know, it's pretty chilled out, and you know, well, if you're a farmer, maybe not, but if you live in the farmland and you don't have a farm, whatever I can imagine it would be pretty chilled out and pretty slow, and just you can just chill out, do whatever. Like, you're not going to bother anyone if you throw a party, because no one will be able to hear you, because you just have this land and the space and just the quietness, you know. Yeah, I don't know, man. Somewhere smack bang in the middle, I think, would be perfect for me, ideally. That's a wild question. So this one's asking, what if money didn't exist? How would people measure success? Gee, that is a question after a big cup of coffee, I think. Just like, that is not a morning question to ask someone. Oh, man. I think there would have to be some form of currency, right? Because back in the day, I mean, people would trade not necessarily with money, but with like items. You know, like it would be like, I have this piano and I want to trade this piano for one of your goats or something like that, right? I don't know. That's not the best example, but it's the only thing I can think of, right? But it was just interesting because, like, it depends on the person. If that is something that they think that they need, it holds value. It's valuable to them, which makes them want it. If it's going to be the right amount of value in exchange for the other thing that also is the same situation for the other person, then that's a fair trade. You know, like, I think there's always going to be some form of trading with some form of currency, whatever it may be, you know. It's been around since the beginning, pretty much, and yeah, I don't think it's going away anytime soon. But I think in terms of like measuring success in that point of view, I think is having something that people want, or having demand for a specific thing. If you are in charge of that thing that people need, then I think that would be a safe way of kind of measuring success, because you happen to have the thing that people need, you know, like back in the day, I reckon. But it depends on what you think success means to you. If it's like you individually, it could be different. Like, success could be like just being happy and free or whatever, you know. So it does depend on what you think success is and what it means to you, I think. Anyway, that is the last one on the list. So yeah, if you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you so much for making it this far. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a good day. And hopefully I will see you in the next video. Cheers.